Hello, welcome back to ABI-DOS. Last episode we started on Keyfinder. Struggled a little bit. We had something that looked like it worked, but in the end didn't really work out. It failed sometimes. Very interesting that. Yeah, did I check out why stuff didn't work? Probably there were multiple issues with this machine. But I think each of these failures are different failures. So, firstly, I wanted to check why this works. And the main idea of this machine is it stores up to 12 bits in here until all 12 bits match. And when all 12 bits match, they are all colored red and sent in. Well, up to 12 bits, depending on the size of this. This doesn't really matter in our case. There are a few issues that arose though. So this is the full list at the 117, and then the 0 releases everything and sends things out. That new 106 is actually the one that's going to be white, but it stays there. Yeah, it stays there, and this symbol here resets it. Yeah. Okay. A couple issues with this, I think, is that this now fails, right? A failure turns this off and everything passes through and does not turn red. Yeah. And this will always follow the one that precedes it. So even at a length of like 11 here, the 12th one will always come after the 11? Is that true? I hope so. Maybe not. Okay. Next issue is this not turning red. Why? So here you have the 106, which is correct. That releases it. Okay, wait, let me read this again. So 106's match. This is sent in here. What? Oh, it already is a fail. This 106 was already a fail? What? There's this GLG thing, which is supposed to be true. Those all pass. These should be red. Ah. I see. And why were they not red? So when the first GLG comes in, which is the one that's supposed to fail, the next one is supposed to be tested for true. But because this G is true but will fail the test with the 4th character. And I assume this doesn't happen anywhere else, which is why this fails. It happens... Does it happen here as well? Is that why this also fails? I don't think so. I don't know why this one would fail. Wait. There's a failure here as well. Is that from the same thing? I don't think it's actually from the same thing though. That one might be a separate issue as well. Like the 106 here will match. The 111 will match. This 102 is the one that is leading to this M. Or the C, sorry. So these should turn red, but they don't turn red for some particular reason. And why is that? Yeah, it's gonna take a while. So this is the ending. The 0 will do that. And this will open up here. So now this 112 turns it back. Why does that 112 occur? Because it's a failure. The failure after this is what causes that. This A shouldn't be here. This A should be somewhere else. Like this A should be should be here. Right? And that probably fixes stuff. There should also be this A here to activate that though. Whatever this is, yeah. The A should still stay. But there should be a separate A for this thing. Oops, I've broken the puzzle. I think I know why. Do I know why? I don't know why. Things just keep breaking. It's like... why do they keep breaking? Why do they keep breaking? What is going on here? This should be led to there. Then this one turns red. Ah, that's why. Okay, fine, fine. Ah, sure. What is this A power? These? Then this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, this A has to be pretty far down. Okay. How about this? There you go. That doesn't work because these are now red, even though they're not supposed to be. I think I know why. It's because these are released out... wait, what? Oh, there should also be an A here. Still wrong, wow. Oh, because these are not... oh my god. Again, wrong, I think... wait, why? What? What? Wait, what? These are held in here. This is not reset? Because these have to wait. Ah, alright, well then that's an issue. Okay, so lots of problems there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to restart this. Let's actually get rid of save slot 1 as well. I don't know why that exists there. Let's start a new save. So what is our goal here? Let's reset this and try not to think about the previous one. Okay. We still want to maintain the same idea, right? Let's have things go in cycles of 12 because our holding is a loop of 12, right? So we have this holding square here that's a loop of 12. Everything should exist in a loop of 12. So if I went back to the previous one, you'll see that from here to the end, I think it's also a loop of 12. From here to the next thing to call out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 7 is 12. As for this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know about this one. But I don't know if it's a good idea to have everything be in loops of 12 though. So, alright, let's repeat what we want to do. We want to... how do I fix all the problems that we have? Because I haven't figured out how to fix the problem where this thing is tested with the 4th digit, even though it will technically pass. But because it's tested against the 4th digit, it fails. Our failure should always be tested against the 1st digit. Our failure should always be tested against the 1st digit. Or sorry, the thing after... no. The failure itself has to be tested. This will fail the 4th test. Because the first GLG is correct. This one should fail the 4th test. But it itself must be tested against the 4th digit. So I think what was wrong in the first one was that I test the next one against the 1st digit. So when L is wrong... can I go all the way back? I can't undo here. But it works here. So what happens is that when this fails, the next one is tested against the 1st digit again. This 125 is tested against the 106. But I can't have the failure consistently be tested against the 1st digit, right? It's like saying... Okay, well that's because the first... Okay. If the failure is failing against any of the next few digits, then it will be tested for the first digit. That is such insane wording though. It's like a lot of different things I want to have happen at once. Can I maybe write this down in a note form? As an exact list of things I want to like code into this machine. If I wanted to do that, I have some paper here, I can try and write that down. So how will it take in inputs? So step 1 is test input against digit 1. With digit 1 will be let's just say T sub 1 for first digit in test. Of course, it'd be sub 0 because the assigned key position 0, but to make things easier, right, sub 1. So here, if I test against sub 1, I will have multiple options of things that could happen. It could either pass that test or fail that test. Right. If it fails, then it goes around this thing over here. So set position to test 1, key 1, which is this G over here. And then this thing itself should also be sent into the S5. Send to S5. Okay. Signal 5. If it passes, then should send to loop. It should send to the 12. Send to the storage unit. So I'll just call it a 12 loop for now. Makes the most sense to call it a 12 loop. So it sends to the 12 loop. Then next is to test input with the next input with digit 2. If that passes, then also send it to loop. If not, send it to loop and then test the next input against digit 3. And then if it passes, just keep doing this until all 12. And if all 12 passes, and the 0 is detected, that's what that 0 detected is for. So we'll say 0 found. Then release 12 loop. And then color red. And then well, at this point there are some things that have to happen, right? There are some issues after this red has occurred as well. How much more failure is there after this? Just a few. Actually, most of these are passing already. This one is still a failure because this one is a separate problem, but this bottom one is a passing now. Some of these also still fail. Some of these are still registered as red. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but... Okay, stop running. Yeah, so these still run, which is bad. But generally we fixed that one problem with this pseudo idea. It's like this thing is held for way too long. Held open for way too long allows like extra things to come in. So we could shorten things. I could definitely shorten things. Maybe that works. Doesn't really matter. That's the same. Yeah, the thing that has to be lengthened is, I think, like a wait point here, I think. Like, if you went to this G over here, this G is going to stay in here and it's going to be held for way too long before this thing is closed again, which is this A signal. This A signal doesn't... No, it works. Then why is it sent to red? Why is it sent to red? There's an A signal here. Wait, what? No, this B signal here. What's that? Yes, this is right. It should release these guys as white. But then this is too long. Okay. So actually what should happen is this should not hold for 12. But isn't that a problem before that? Where these guys are... No? No? Well, no, not here, but in the case where there's an immediate failure afterwards. Right. In the case where there's immediate failure afterwards, there's still a very long holding. So actually, I probably reduce these guys by quite a number. And in fact, I could probably like put this in front first. Make it ever so slightly so that there isn't that much of a delay. These guys can reduce by 4 each, I think. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Nope, that fails because... Because why? Does that merge? There is no accidental merge. There's a sudden value change because of what? So G over there, that G should be released. The G is released. This puts everything back, yes. What? Oh, that G should come first. This wait should be longer. Oh, okay, fine. Let's say that wait is in fact longer. Okay, that fixes everything except that problem now. Alright, there's just way too many problems here that I don't want to try and resolve. But that fixes whatever that issue was. Okay, anyway. Sorry, I was still working on what I'm supposed to do if... what the test is supposed to be. So it's test input with 1. If passed, then send it into the 12 loop and then test with the next character. If passed, send it to the 12 loop, then test with next character and repeat until the 0 is found, meaning that the test has ended. Then release everything from the 12 loop, color red. That's exactly why I want to look at this, right? What happens after? After this, the next one should already be tested with input 1. So there should be an arrow that goes all the way back here regardless. Test input with input 1. So this is... Yeah, these are all tested with input 1. They already did that because that 0 already reset everything before the coloration occurs, like long before. So the test is still functioning here, which is why this works. So that is correct. If there's a fail, however, it gets a lot more tricky. If there's a fail, we now set the position to T1 and send to S5. That is correct for the first thing. However, for any test after that, for test 2 and above, if there's a fail, there's a very there's a very possible chance that that failure could still work with T1. So if this fails, I need to test the same input with T1, which is, I think, the challenge. Because how do I have a failure go through 2 tests? I need to set position to T1 and then test the same thing. So test input 1, test input 2, 3. So if test input 2 with character 2 fails, I need to then set position back to test 1 and then test input 2 with position 1. And then, you know, if passing, if passing, then it's analogous with the test input 1 of test 1 being a pass. If it's a fail, then it's a definite fail. Okay. This is a very big flowchart I'm drawing right now that doesn't really seem to give me any extra information. If this test input 2 with test 1 doesn't work, then what I do is I send it into S5. I set the position back to test 1 and I send to S5 as a white color. Okay, I get what the game wants me to do now though. I think I see a lot better of a path to make this work besides just going back and forth. It will be difficult because I still haven't figured out the specifics of how to test again, but there might need to be a separate chamber for this retest or whatever. Wow, it feels like I'm like managing a whole education system at this point. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Let me just read my notes again, just to make sure I understand what's going on. Okay, so firstly, the input 0 also needs an initial 0 test. The initial 0 test here, if passing, will mean the end of the cycle. And so we'll need this to be a B state, so this is good. And I think this this end of the test works, so we'll just have it as it is. It needs to be set to 0. It is already set to 0. So you just set the position of the pointer back to 0. And I will do whatever else it needs to do. The releasing, everything, the setting to rate, whatever. But if not, that thing will go here and will test against this guy. So it will release from you. And you should release yet, so yeah. And so the test will occur. The writer goes down by 1. And then the equal to sensor is here. And then that can lead to an immediate direction. However, we need to care about a lot of things. If there is a fail, this is only for test 1. See, the problem is that how do I detect when the fail is not with input 1? How do I do that? And if I don't do that, I just have everything do a retest. I need a test with test 1. A test with test 1... No. Wait. Huh. Okay, hold on. If something passes, that will change. Aha! So, I remember, in my old design, here there's something weird going on. This pass does in fact change something about this. I could re-engineer that, right? So if there were a pass, say here, that will reactivate this. What? No. I need this G to be the one that's the... So if this is the pass, it will activate this guy. And so you go down the new pathway here, which activates this B. And this B will... What? This B will... The next B will turn you... Let me think about this again. Why did this exist? This existed because without it, this doesn't activate anything here. This activates this, which means what? I don't even know what that means. But at the start, it never hits this B, which means this is never flipped. However, that is flipped when either an end of a test or a failure after a pass. This is a failure after a pass state. which is a G here, like that. When this G comes out, not when it's released. When this G comes out, that's a pass. This will activate this guy, and so this will be considered a failure after a pass. And that will open this. The failure after a pass must also be tested again with the first one. So really, that first thing needs to just be written down somewhere. Because it always is the thing that needs to be tested against this pass. Okay. So this first thing needs to be written down, but nothing else. I can do that with a one-way gate. Not a one-way gate, a one-time gate. And a one-time gate is not challenging at all, I think. I don't need the zero checker. It's fine. This would be kind of slow, but that's okay, actually. This the amount of time spent before comparison doesn't really matter. So what I'm doing is I'm going to send this initial sequence, this initial object, which will always be the first thing to be tested, down. It'll be sent down. It will write itself onto some tester. It will bounce back up and then sends this to flip its state. And so this thing will be forever inactive as long as you turn right all the time. So when the next thing comes out, which I can test just using this, will the next thing turn right? Yes, it will always turn right. So this is a very good setup to have this writer sort of work. This is a one-time writer and nothing else coming in will ever be written down here ever again. So this maintains the value of the very first thing. Okay, I've used the bouncing mechanic for the first time ever. So actually, could I just revise the old design? I say revise the old design, I kind of destroyed it a little bit using this thing over here. We did have a couple issues down there that we'd also fixed, so maybe this is fine. Let's do this. I don't know what this is about. Also this. This one isn't really the same problem, right? Maybe it is. You get eventual hold. And then for some obscure reason... Obscure? For some weird reason... For some weird reason, this is turned white. Instead, why? 17, and then a failure will occur, or the 0 will occur, sorry, not the failure. I'll reset everything. This will come out. That... Okay, well, yeah, this will be tested. This should be tested against the first digit, so it doesn't really matter. What really matters is that this is somehow changed to be uncolored. Because of this A? Ah. But wasn't this A like up here? Isn't that even worse? So why does anything else work? Why does this work, for example? Actually, by this working, I should really be looking at the end of that sequence to save myself some time. So at the end of this, when the 17 works, why is it red now? Because there's a pass after it. So a fail after it really shouldn't change it. So this works because there's a pass after. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't rely on the fact there's a pass after. It should always stay as this. So this A is being in the way, and therefore I really do think this must happen. But of course, this then fails a lot of other things, right? No, wow, this works, okay. Then that's just me then. That's just me being really bad. Okay, so that works, and then that just means I have to basically fix this initial issue, which I know how to do. Right? I can do this check over here, and I can probably lengthen this thing. So there'll be probably a bunch of wiring things that are required, but that's fine, I think. Okay, so let's remove this first. Let's try and work on this to make sure it actually functions. These are both going to enter this passage at the very end, right? So I'm going to make it so that the outside path is the one that is the first failure. So right now, the first failure always takes the first failure after a pass always takes the inside path, this B. But I want the opposite to be true, so I can just do this. And then flip this B over here. Of course, there's a lot of wiring mishap happening there. So there might be some issue. But okay. Let's have this colorization machine just be gone for a while. Actually, you know what I should do? Before I botch everything again, let's copy this over to slot 2. Now if there ever is a fail, I need to go back to my old design. I'm just gonna go back to slot 0. But right now what I want to do is get rid of you. I want to redesign this entire section over here. Because I want a writer here to write the first digit. And that usually... yeah, so... first... this has to sort of swap. Like that. This B sensor will activate this, so that might be a little bit of an issue here regarding the wiring. But that hopefully shouldn't be too much of an issue with just colors. Okay, so now they will all eventually enter this chamber and then end. So it doesn't really matter what happens. I think I can just shift this over here. This coming down here will turn right, which is why... yeah, okay. So actually I might want a down conveyor. And then these can all shift down a little bit. This doesn't really matter. I can have this A sensor. I don't actually have an A sensor on the board right now. This A sensor here is the one that connects to this. Blue wire, please go away. So this machine is all still correct. This machine down here is the one that goes to this 5 sensor. I'll optimize for space later on, but yeah. So now, this B is the one that does bad. So actually I can probably move this all a little closer. I need some space for this fail after a pass thing. Also, these have to connect to the conveyor. What are you doing? Yeah. So this will activate this and we'll move it into this area. This B was supposed to activate this. But on top of doing that, I can always use a blue wire to connect here. So that's honestly fine. On top of that, it also has to be tested against the first digit. So now I can do this I can do this thing, this bounce thing. So what it does is it initially goes down, hits a B sensor that flips its switch forever. This will now... honestly, if this didn't go right, if this went left instead, I could just do the opposite and, you know, flip this and then turn it off. Just stating that fact. So it doesn't really matter, that wasn't a problem. The writer can go here, a tester can go here. Now, the challenge is if it passes, what does it do? If it fails, it's very easy. It just does the exact same thing as this. So it just goes down and it does this, if it fails. If it passes, is the challenge. Because if it passes, then some very interesting things has to happen. I can set the sensor right here now so it can just immediately decide what to do afterwards. Now, if it fails... no, if it fails, it's good. If it passes, it needs to go back here. Oh geez, there is like no space to send it back. Okay, that might have been why I wanted... that might have been why I wanted this to be in the inner lane. That should still be doable, right? If this second lane is thin enough, the writer can write over it. Okay. I did this. Isn't this also fine? And then this should go down and turn off. So it initially starts as this circular loop because this will turn right going this way. Right? And then if it passes, then this will go down. Yeah, this is fine. Why did I try to do this long loop again? No idea. Okay, so back to our original idea where this is passing first. This goes down this very long corridor here, which allows the writer to do its job. the writer will do its job about here. So like this, I think, is good. It will still bounce back. It's fine, yeah. So then this B sensor can really occur anywhere at this point in time, honestly. I think the main issue is that we want to have any failures come back this exact path as well. Okay, let's save this. Did the previous one require the A has to be touched by both, regardless of result? Okay. That's fine, that's honestly okay. I'll just leave this here first. This will turn right and turn upwards, so there must be a weird down arrow by the time it comes back. That's honestly also okay. Already, since we have so much space here to have to work, we can put another A sensor here as well. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, Anyway. This goes here. B sensor is unimportant. B sensor might be a wiring issue. I could technically also write to here and put the B sensor in front of it to make sure it doesn't mingle. That could be actually a good idea. But I do want to send the failures back in here, which, you know, isn't necessarily the best idea. Okay, well, I can always put this over here, and then this down here. This will allow any failures to enter here from this side, maybe from here as well. Okay. Still gonna have to be some problems with this, but that's okay. So I can do this, like, honestly. This will turn right on its own, right? This is rightwards is this way, yeah. So yeah, I can just do this, and then, you know. Okay, that's actually a lot of space. That's actually really good. That gives me even more space to do whatever this is. Yeah. Okay. So if fail, just send it back in. If pass, send it up. I mean, that's not that challenging, right? I just have to work with the cycle. It just has to work with the cycle. Alright, so if fails, we'll send it in. If passes, we'll send it up. Like so. Looks good. And then we have this Y over here that touches this, right? This B sensor over here. Okay. I can definitely fix things by pushing this up by 1. That will make things slightly better. There'll be a conveyor here. This will naturally turn right, so the turning left is the correct direction for this conveyor. But it should not work first. Any failure should enter this direction here. Right. So it writes there, it does its job. Failure goes down, a failure will go down that path, but that's absolutely fine. There must also be an A sensor. That A sensor can actually just be here. That's actually great. No conveyors required means that I can put things anywhere. That A sensor sends that back, that's fine. Okay. Same here. This A sensor probably isn't even required. Well, yeah, it probably isn't required on this line, so. Anyway. I want to check what happens when this G is tested. When a pass is tested. Oh, I have two 106s, that's not good. Where is a 106 that failed? That's not supposed to be there. This 106 passes, immediately met with a failure. Oh, because this doesn't have an exit, so it doesn't get thrown away. Okay, that's why. 106, this is a failure. This B should also activate this. So let's use a blue wire for that. So 106 here, failure detected, B test over there. This must also be tested against the 106. And if passes goes up here. Okay. Okay. Then where is the first... this G is the first next issue, right? Okay, so next. When this GLG occurs, it goes up and in. Yes, good. The next one should... What? Wait. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, something's wrong. Timings are super off. Hold on. So this... which G came out first? I don't know. The 106 is the G that came out first in the testing. Next will be the G over here. Wait, no. Wait. L. Okay, it's testing against this Y right now, sorry. Next time I should test against this G, so that passes, that goes in. It gets sent out already, something needs to reset it. Oh, I didn't put a reset system? Oh, I really didn't put a reset system. Oops. Okay. That's honestly fine. For purposes of this, I can actually have everything merged together. I don't really care if it merges at the end. I just need an alpha, and A sensor to put everything back in. Yeah, you'll get some weird stuff going on. But this G is what I want to look for. Oof, you get a very weird timing issue. Okay. The first time that issue shows up is here. Actually, that GLG is right. But that timing issue occurs because there's a bounce here, I think? Wait, no. 106, 106, 106. What is being tested? This L is being tested against the wrong thing. What? There's a sudden send back to 0. Yeah, it's being tested against the wrong thing now. Awkward. Why? Is it because this is taking too long? No. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's try looking at this again. So that sets that off. Oh, there's a double here. Doesn't do anything, but it doesn't really change anything, right? That doubling doesn't change anything. So 106 gets tested with 125, fails. Gets tested with 102, fails. Gets tested with an R, fails. Gets tested with the correct thing, passes. That goes in there in that loop. Next thing will fail, the 119. That is the S, I think. Yeah, that fails. Activates this guy. Well, that activation should be a lot later. It's just for testing purposes right now. And this happens. The next thing coming in is the 112 from the... So 112 from the M. That fails. This 106 is correct though. This G is correct. That passes. Okay. 111 is tested against 117. What? Which one? Alright, okay. The Q fails. Good. 106 passes 106. That's good. 106 again. Why is there a reset? Why is there a reset back to position 0 here? Why? Since when? When did that reset to position 0 occur? Okay, we're still there. There. There's a reset to position 0 here? Why wasn't that a problem before? Why wasn't that a problem before? Why was that not a problem before? 117 here. Sets back to position 0 is correct. That does this. 106 tests again with 106. That 106 will test against this 111. Okay, wait. That's not the main issue. This Q resetting everything is not the main issue. That is correct. It's supposed to happen. This 106 is still correct. Something else changes here. Why? Wait, when did it reset? 117. Is it because this is earlier? It's this G. This is the wrong G. This is this G. So this should be waiting longer. Let's say it waits 8. Is that maybe better? Because the writing, yeah, it now says this G, and so we're back to the correct G. Okay, that was the issue. Jeez. It looked like it went all the way to 0, but no, it went from number 3 to number 1. It went from the third G to the first G, the second G to the first G. So now that happens, now it works, but the timing is very off. That is because... How do I fix that here? 1, 2, 3, 4. How did that fix itself here? 106. This calculates along with it. Okay, so that means that that's why it works. Okay. So because this is longer, this should also be longer by a bit. Okay. Okay, let's say I put this how many cycles? 2 cycles? No, this should be, this is too slow, right? Oops, don't do that. This 106 is too slow. Too fast. Oh, how do I do this? The distance from... Wait, what? Okay, hold on. This is very precise. How did I do this in the past? What? How did I manage to calculate all this in the past? It is 106. The time it takes to get from here all the way to here. So, okay, let's just say at this position, this would need to be here. But that fails because this is an 8, so now this is too slow. This comes out way too late. I need to speed this up, not slow this down. Even before that, it was already kind of an issue. But the only reason why this worked was because this was a very short path. Now, when I have this extra test going on, this path becomes way longer. So that no longer really works. Like, yeah, okay, geez, like, I sort of get it. Okay. So maybe instead it's here, that's better. A divergence from here is better. Yeah, okay. Let's try that. And then we'll set this to an initial value of 7. There's still something wrong because... I still don't know what the problem is with this 7. So this is right. This will go here. It's still late. Why? I don't know, if I wrote a 6 here, is that better? Or does it become a big problem now? Are we testing against the wrong thing now? We are testing against the wrong thing again. Are we? Hold on, let me look at that Q. So this 117 says against this G. That takes too long. Aha. Okay. Gotcha, gotcha. That does take too long, okay. But I can't really change anything about this, right? So a 6 is way too short. A 7 just barely works. But a 7 also doesn't allow this. Why is this slower by a little bit? Like, what makes it... What makes this ever so slightly longer of a track? Is that because there's a... What? No, it's... What? I don't see what the difference is. Right? Do you see the difference? Because I don't. Ah, this. From here to here to here, there's an extra step. That extra step. No way, right? I can't just pull this off by 1 and then expect that to work. Because that increases the problem, no? Oops. Keep forgetting. That then increases the problem, no? No, that maintains the problem. It makes sense because everything is still going out the same length. But that does mean that this extra length is not... Okay, this extra length causes this to need to be 6, and this being 6 causes this to need to be fixed. So it's all down to this problem. Can I fix that? By making this shorter. It seems like this is the least we can do though. Really does seem like that's the least I can do. So somehow I need to make this thing here faster, but I can't. It just takes that many cycles. I can't resolve that. I cannot resolve that. So that's why this doesn't work. That's why this doesn't work, really? There's no way that that's just that unlucky that it's off by exactly 1. Right? If I made this 6... Then the writing to 0, the pulling this out. The pulling out of the 11 is bad, yeah. Because we now take the 106 from this G. Okay. Wait. Why is that a problem? There's nothing wrong with this 7, it's just this takes longer. But that shouldn't be a problem, should it? That shouldn't be a problem either. Why is it a problem? Okay, let's see this again. So this goes out. This goes in. Oh, this is a problem. This 7... Oh. Okay. Well, I can make things a lot easier. Can I? I can move on to the next one. I can make this a 24 loop, and then I can double everything, and then I could be able to make that micro adjustment. This 111 is way too far away. I don't even think reducing the distance will fix that, because it just barely doesn't work. This needs to be a 6. The turning back needs to come after the position of 0. Yes, it does. But that's gonna take too long. Unless that position of 0 comes a lot earlier. But how can it? Once you write the position of the 0 down, it's gone as a position of 0. That means that the position of 0 must have been a lot further in front. By a lot further, I really do mean a lot further. Does that make sense? I think it does. Alright, I'm a bit tired out, so I think I'll continue working on this next episode. Alright, I'll write down the notes as to what I need to do so I can start off next episode as if I had not stopped at all. But yeah, I think I am done for now. Ooh, brain worked out. Yeah, okay. That's fine. I'll figure out something eventually. You just gotta work on all the problems and then we'll see what happens. Okay, I think, yeah, I'm done for now. Until then though, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.